so welcome again to the MBA Healthcare Information session. So again, my name is Lori Filippo. I'm the Assistant Director for Grad Recruitment. So we'll go ahead and get started on UNLV graduate admissions. So first to touch on is why grad school. So with graduate and professional degrees, it does help you stand out from the crowd. Only about 14.4% actually hold graduate and professional degrees. It does help you with different kind of skills that employers are looking for. So it provides the leadership, communication, different research skills, and really making you more marketable when you're looking for those careers. So why do grad school at UNLV? UNLV is a prestigious R1 institution. Only one of 131 universities in the US actually hold this ranking. We do have over 175 different graduate degree and certificate programs, and this includes more than 40 doctoral and professional programs. We are the second most diverse university in the country, according to the U.S. News and World Report. And then you'll see here that we do have other rankings, such as being top 10 in social mobility. We do have the community engagement classification, and also with our programs, while also being regionally accredited, being an R1, they also hold their own rankings and accreditations. So with grad studies at UNLV, you'll get to learn from nationally and internationally recognized faculty. You will partner a lot with the local employers, doing a lot with the community. The community will also be involved with your studies. We really have a lot of those hands-on experiences. You will get to work in labs, research centers, libraries, and then we know our students are very non-traditional, so you will also get to enroll in afternoon and evening classes. We also have online classes, hybrid classes, and we also offer fully online programs. To help students through their studies, and just to get more of an experience, they can apply as to be a graduate assistant. So we'll talk about that a little bit later on. But this is a great opportunity for graduate students, and you don't even have to be accepted yet. You can actually go ahead and apply as a GA once you submit your application. The other thing is that you can go ahead and form relationships with your faculty and your classmates. If you're not familiar with UNLV, we do have over 5,000 graduate students on campus. UNLV was founded in 1957, and of our students, we have well over 1,000 international students, and they really are coming from all over the world. They are, from the ones that we've seen, coming from well over 80 different countries. Okay, so paying for grad school. So this is just an estimate to kind of give you an idea of what this academic year looks like for our students. If you are an in-state student, you're looking at a little over $8,000. For out-of-state, you're looking at a little over $24,000. Now, this is based on 1 year for tuition and fees, and if you are going as a full-time student. So a full-time grad student is considered 9 credits per semester, or 3 classes typically per semester. So now to help out to pay for that cost, we do offer many different funding opportunities. The largest one that we offer is through graduate assistantships. We have over 1,000 GAs on campus. Graduate assistantships, they are students and working on campus. They can work in non-academic areas, so maybe at the student union, at the graduate college, graduate admissions office, maybe the library, so different areas. But they also offer academic GAs, so maybe they offer research GAs or teaching GAs in your area. What a GA covers, it's a full package deal. So they do cover the full tuition up to 9 credits. If you are out of state, it will cover your out of state tuition. So while you are a GA, you will be considered in state. You will also receive an annual stipend. This did just recently increase. So our annual stipends are now between $17,000 and $22,000. This just depends on the area that you're working as a GA and what kind of GA you are. As a GA, you will also receive health insurance benefits. So if you need to use UNLV's health insurance, while you are a GA, your health insurance will be covered. Now, I do like to mention that if you are not a GA, but you do enroll in 9 credits your semesters, you will be automatically charged the health insurance. All of our students are required to have health insurance if they enroll in 9 or more credits. But if you do have your own health insurance outside of UNLV, you can always waive out of ours. So just keep that in mind when you do enroll in your classes. If you do see a health insurance charge, and if you're not a GA, but you do have your own health insurance, make sure you're waiving out of it. There's also registration fee reductions and summer tuition benefits. With the Graduate College, they also offer $5.7 million in awards. This is through new and current scholarships. There are fellowship opportunities to our students. And it's always good to look at the departments because they do offer their own types of awards, scholarships. Maybe there's stuff through teaching or community service that can help you and allow you to receive those kinds of funding awards. We also have the low cost of living and tuition here. So there are many different residency options if you're looking to live on campus or right outside UNLV. There is no state income tax here in Nevada. And with Nevada, you also, and UNLV, you do get the local discounts, tickets, and entertainment. Okay. So with UNLV, we want to make sure that you are getting a full experience while you go to grad school. So a few ways we do that is we do offer the Graduate and Professional Student Association, or the GPSA. The GPSA does cater to all graduate and professional students. So they do offer career support, workshops, training, and areas just like in this image, just for grad students. So this area is just located on our 2nd floor of our library. And when you become a student, you'll have full access to all the technology, the whiteboards, computers. There's a kitchen space in here. So we have 2 of these locations on campus just for grad students. There also is the Grad Academy. The Academy, they also offer career development, professional leadership, to really, again, cater students through their whole process as a grad student and on. So with this slide, you can see many of the free resources available to grad students. So we can't stress enough, these are free resources. And again, it's really giving you that extra experience while you're a grad student at UNLV. So there are free certifications that you can take part in. There are many events, and these events, I would really, look at them. Make sure you're contacting the Grad Academy to find out more information on these, because they do offer funding and scholarships. A lot of the programs are really benefit for grad students to help you through your journey of your degree. One of the ones that I know a lot of our students really like is that Grad Rebel Writing Boot Camp. So if you have to do any kind of dissertations, publications, maybe your thesis, this is an excellent program to be a part of. Okay, so applying to be a UNLV graduate student, once you know which program you are looking to go into, the next step is to apply and submit your documents in the Grad Rebel Gateway. The Grad Rebel Gateway is where you'll do your full application. You'll upload all of your required documents. You'll pay for your application fee. And this is also where you'll be able to apply for any scholarships. If you're interested in any graduate assistantships, you'll do that all in the Grad Rebel Gateway. You'll also be able to check on your decision letter and see what the status is of your application. Once you apply and submit all of your documents to your application, you will go under review first by the graduate admissions team. What we will look for is that you have a bachelor's degree from a regionally accredited institution or an approved internationally equivalent. For your bachelor's degree, we want to see that you have at least a 2.75. If you fall below that GPA, we will look at the last 60 credits you completed to see that you have at least a 3.0 GPA. We do need to see transcripts from each post-secondary institution that you attended. If you attended outside of the US, or if your transcripts may be in a different language, we do need to see a copy of the transcripts both in the original language and an English translation. If you are an international student, we also will need to see proof of English proficiency. So this would be like your TOEFL, your IELTS, Duolingo test. If you have any questions about these requirements or are not sure if one may be required for you, go ahead and reach out to our office and we'll help you determine what's needed. The main thing with grad school is to make sure that you know what your deadline is. Every single program that we have does have a specific deadline on when you need to have your application and your materials submitted by. It's crucial to know what your deadline is, especially if you are required to do a GRE, a GMAT, if you have to do a statement of intent, if you need letters of recommendation. Also note that some of our programs, they only admit once a year. So make sure you know what the deadline is for your program so that you can make sure you get everything ready and good to go. You don't rush on anything and make it the best application you can for when you're submitting it. So the next steps would be to meet with our admission recruitment team. If you do have any questions about the application process, what is needed for your application, go ahead and review those admission requirements and know what your deadline is for when you have to submit everything. If you have any specific questions about the program or maybe the requirements, you can also reach out to the graduate coordinator. There is a specific coordinator for every single program that we have. Once you're ready, go ahead and apply in the Grad Rebel Gateway and submit all of your materials, pay for your application, and then we can go ahead and get started to making you part of the UNLV family. Just so you know, we do offer many recruitment events throughout the year. So definitely check out our event page. We have Grad School Applications 201, which is really good for students for the next steps. We do dive deeper into more of the departmental requirements for 201. And then we also will be at fairs and tabling events. So definitely check it out. Our events on our calendar for any events you may like to join in on. And then we are here to help out again with any questions you have. We are open Monday through Friday, 8 to 5 at the Student Service Complex. And I will go ahead and send out this information to you tomorrow. So if you do have any questions, please let us know. And with that, I'm going to pass it over to Dr. Davis.
Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about the MBA Master's of Science in Healthcare program. My name is Lisa Davis. I'm the Executive Director for the Office of Graduate Student Services. And on the recruitment side for the office, Marlena will be talking a little bit about her experience as an MBA student. So kind of how this will break into is we'll go a little bit about the different programs that we offer. We'll also talk about the experience of being a student and being on the MBA side of the dual, and then a little bit about the application process. So I'll go ahead and get started. A little bit about the accreditation. The LEE Business School is AACSB accredited. That is the Association to Advance Collegiate Schools of Business, and only 5% of business schools internationally have that accreditation. The second accreditation, the master's programs in the healthcare area are also accredited by the Commission on Accreditation of Healthcare Management Education. So if you're looking at that dual program, both sides of that dual are accredited by the top accreditation agencies within those areas. The MBA program, we have an evening program. It is a hybrid program where you're taking classes after 5:30. Every other week is in person. Odd weeks are in person, even weeks are remote for all the MBA courses. That's different on the healthcare side. They may have courses in person, remote, or hybrid. So it's a balance to get the classes that you need for each of those. Some students will take the MBA courses one semester. Some will take the healthcare classes that semester. Other students will kind of balance between the two. So for the MBA program, we also have students that are in finance, human resources management, marketing, new venture, and management information systems. We also have a number of dual degrees that are listed here. So it gives you a chance to really work with people that will end up in very different fields than you will be, and establishing a network of folks across industries and disciplines. The MBA side of the dual is 30 credits. The benefit of doing a dual is being able to waive classes on one or both sides of the dual. For the MBA, if you were to do the MBA alone, it would be a total of 42 credits or 14 courses. When you combine it in a dual program, it's 10 courses. So you're saving 4 courses on that side of the dual program. Now, this gives you the broader background of business, the accounting, the teams, statistics, marketing. So that breadth of business that can be applied in healthcare, hospitality, engineering. So it's the background of business. The healthcare side gives you similar but different because it's very industry specific in healthcare. So you'll see some of the courses: health services management, organization and systems, accounting and finance. So it does complement what you're learning in that broader MBA and focusing it more specifically on healthcare. So you'll see an idea of how those courses work. You have 22 courses for the dual program. And with those 22 courses, you're receiving an MBA program and a Master's of Science in Healthcare. So it's a great benefit to get both of those degrees. When you're looking at the return on the investment, you have an R1 institution. You have both accredited programs, the business school and the healthcare program, and then at a very affordable cost for those dual degrees. This will give you a little bit of information for in-state. It could be anywhere from $18,000 to $25,000 to complete both of those. Out of state, there's a difference between part-time tuition and full-time tuition, anywhere from $30,000 to $52,000. And I know Lori mentioned the option for graduate assistantships and scholarships. Definitely apply for those and apply for them early for the best result. So it definitely is a great value and has a wonderful return on your investment. So my favorite part about the programs is the experience of being a grad student at UNLV. I know Lori mentioned a lot about campus and the graduate college, but I'm going to turn it over to Marlena to talk a little bit about her experience, and then I'll go through a few of the slides as well on the broader experience.
Yeah, so hi everyone, my name is Marlena Gatlin. As Lisa mentioned, I'm currently a student, so I am in the MBA program, and I'm expected to graduate in December of 2023, so I'm getting close. But reflecting back on my MBA journey, the program has provided such a supportive environment, and that I've had the opportunity to learn from brilliant professors and collaborate with diverse groups of classmates. So I think for me specifically, 2 things that I really enjoyed about the program are the different variety of students and different academic backgrounds that they come from. So you have students that did psychology, health sciences, fine arts. So you don't have to have that business background to really pursue an MBA. I know for me specifically, I came from psychology and then I started the MBA. And then also I really enjoyed its hybrid modality. So that being said, so odd weeks you'd be in class, and then those even weeks you're virtual. So whether that's asynchronous or synchronous, it's up to the professor. But you have the opportunity to network with classmates, but then you also get that off week to focus on your studies. And then classes were not only lecture based, but they also provided real world applicable cases and collaborative discussions. So I was able to use what I learned in class and plug it directly into my day-to-day life and my current job and my past jobs and my past internships. So I was using it right then and there. And then lastly, I think I just want to touch on the networking opportunities that the program provides you. So the MBA office hosts networking opportunities from its student association, but also they connect you with outside organizations. So for me, they provided events that I could attend, such as Vegas Young Professionals. So those are like-minded Las Vegas people that have businesses or are owning small companies. So you get that opportunity to mix and mingle with, your group mates and your classes, but then also professionals in the community. I think for me specifically, the MBA program has truly been a transformative experience in my life. So much that I want to continue studying at UNLV after I finish the MBA program. So
can you talk a little bit about the orientation experience? Because I know you talked a little bit about the networking. Can you share that as well?
Yeah, so it's not your typical orientation where you sit down and go over courses and requirements. It's actually just like a networking opportunity. You sit in small groups and you're mixing and mingle with other students. And some of the students are in the MBA program, but then some students are in dual programs, some are pursuing certificates. But the orientation is sort of you go through challenges and worksheets, and it's just your opportunity to meet other people. And I think for me specifically, that's how I got through the program because I really struggled in accounting. Accounting was not my forte, but meeting students at orientation and then knowing that face when I got to class and then connecting with them, and they had that accounting background and they really just helped me through the program. I think a lot of the program is project based, so just having those students to rely on, and then after class we'd go get dinner together, and then we'd talk to each other on the weekend. So it really is like a friendship and a bonding experience.
Thank you, Marlena. We definitely have an MBA community that extends. I've talked to students because I've been working in the program for a number of years, and I've talked to students that have graduated 10 years ago that are still talking to some of the folks that they met at orientation. So even though the program lasts a couple years, those relationships sometimes can last for decades. So if we like to start our program off with that type of collaboration, since it's not a cohort program, it's more flexible and you can go at your own pace depending on whether you want to go full or part-time. But we do start the program more as a cohort with the students taking the first couple of classes together, or recommended to take it together, so that they do develop that support network and that group of friends throughout the program and again, beyond. So we do also have a career and professional development office that helps students. The director of the career and professional development office does present at orientation because most students go back to school to get a better job, to advance in their current job. Maybe they're going from IT to marketing and they want to kind of retool with an MBA. So with our career services office, the director does have a background working with MBA students. So they have a lot of services depending on whether you're a recent graduate or if you've been out of the workforce or out of school for 10 years and switching industries. So they're able to kind of advise across those different needs for graduate students. They do anything from assisting students creating resumes to interviewing, mock interviews. There's also a main career services office, and then LinkedIn Learning with the badges to kind of retool in different areas as well. So there's a lot offered. Beyond the classroom, Marlena mentioned the MBA Student Association. We have a group of students that manage the association and are more of the social side of the MBA to keep people connected. There's a speaker series and student mixers that we have in our building. The Rebel Venture Fund, which talks a little bit more about the entrepreneurial side of finance. So they do work with angel investors to fund different opportunities so the students are able to vet businesses and then make investment recommendations on those companies. And then international trip. This picture was taken 2019 when we traveled to China with a group of students. We went to Sany Industries. So we do a few things on the international trip. We look at domestic businesses. We look at international businesses doing business in whatever country we visit. And then we also look at American companies doing business within that country. So we've traveled to China, we've traveled to Russia. This picture in Russia is at the oldest Kremlin in Novgorod, Russia. So we do culture visits as well. So we do business visits and culture visits, and we have a lot of great food as well. Peru, this was taken at Machu Picchu on one of our cultural visits when we went to Lima and Cusco. The MBA Student Association, as Marlena mentioned, we do a lot of different events, and I'm still amazed how much MBAs love to sing. Karaoke is still our best attended event. When we do karaoke every fall, we just have a lot of people that enjoy karaoke. During the pandemic, we weren't able to do a lot of our typical events, but we still wanted our students that were attending classes remotely to still connect with folks. So we started hiking. So we do usually 2 different hiking trails each semester to get students out and connected differently than how they will connect over a song and karaoke. And we also do bowling. So those are just 3 samples of some of the activities that the Student Association coordinates for the MBA student. The other thing that we put together, and it kind of stemmed from the international trips because we were visiting businesses internationally. But what's really cool about Vegas is there's a number of awesome businesses here that I know I didn't know a lot about that we take our students to. These are a couple or a few of the business visits that we've done in the past. We've gone to City National Arena and learned a lot more about their relationship with Las Vegas. We've been to the T-Mobile Arena and found out a lot about how they can change from a concert on a Thursday night to maybe a Golden Knights game on a Friday night. So it's really interesting to see what that sustainable facility has done. Area 15, we visited Area 15 on a hard hat tour before they open their doors. So we do different business visits each semester. A couple that we've done recently as well, we've gone to the VA hospital, found out a lot more about what they do, find out what jobs they have available. And we've also done the Office of Economic Development Innovation Center. So we usually do 1 to 2 of those business visits each semester, able to connect with some of the leadership at local companies to find out a little bit more about what they do, their reach, and also opportunities that they may have for our graduate students and alumni. So the final part of the presentation is a little bit about the application process. The application, we accept students fall, spring, and summer. So we like to have a deadline that works well for you, because going back to grad school, it's a lot about timing. So whenever that timing is right for you, hopefully we have a deadline that's going to work for your schedule. So there's a lot of things that has to happen before you get back to grad school to kind of make sure you have everything set for that time and money that you'll be investing in your education. For application materials, typical resume, transcript, statement of purpose that talks a little bit about why you're pursuing this degree and why you think it would be a good path for you in your career. And then also what about you would make you a good candidate. So we are looking at your writing on that statement of purpose. Letters of recommendation, we're looking at individuals, it can be academic or professional, but individuals to write your letters, those individuals will know that you would be a good candidate for graduate school. So that's what we're looking for on the letter. It could be former professor, a client, a supervisor, a colleague. So there's a lot of different people that may be able to evaluate your potential to complete a grad program. Entrance exam, we require GMAT or GPA, GMAT or GRE for admission, and then international students have additional requirements. Graduate College looks at a 2.75 or higher for admission. For the MBA program side, we look at full admission at 3.0. Below 3.0, be considered for provisional admission. And then we do look at GMAT and GRE scores case by case as part of an overall packet. With the dual program, you're being considered on the MBA side and the healthcare side. So MBA will make one decision, healthcare will make another decision. They both may be that you're admitted and then you're in the dual program. Sometimes one side of the dual will accept, the other side will deny. If that's the case, you do have the option to pursue that one graduate degree program. And it could be an option to where you may be able to reapply if you satisfy whatever the denying program wanted. You could reapply and then be admitted to the dual. It just depends on that case by case. A little bit about the GMAT and GRE. This semester, these tests are both changing. They're going to be streamlined and shorter than what they have been in the past. So I'll have a little bit of information for you here. For the GMAT, the test now after COVID, you can go in person to test, or you can have a remote option. I would opt for the in-person with my situation. I have a very demanding dog that I don't think would allow me to sit for 2.5 hours and do well on the test. So for me, going into a testing center, I would be more focused. So evaluate which one would work best for you and your situation. The local testing center, wherever you're at, you can find it on MBA.com to find out where the testing center closest to you is. So our average score, and this is the old score, 600 out of 800. The new test has a new scoring section that will be equivalent to a 600 out of an 800. You register at MBA.com. There's a lot of information for that. The GMAT Focus is the new test format that will be coming out in October. This week in early September, you will be able to register for that new exam. And this is the local testing center address for the GMAT. This is a little about the new Focus test that's coming out next month. Shorter version, the current version is 4 hours. This one's 2 hours and 15 minutes. The score I mentioned on the previous one was 600 out of 800. You can see the unified score. There were separate scores on the current one, 200 to 800. There's no essay section. The old test, you weren't able to go back and change any answers. They've made it a little bit easier for test takers to go back and maybe change a question that they knew they didn't have correct. So this is a more user-friendly exam. Here's a comparison between the old GMAT and the new Focus test. I would recommend studying for and taking the Focus exam. If you have material for the old test, it is still applicable. The data sufficiency is not on the new test, nor is the sentence correction. But the other sections of any existing study material will be applicable for the new exam. It's a computer adaptive test, so it does depend on how you answer one question as the level of difficulty of the next one, and that's how they determine that final score. This is one of the questions that a lot of students struggle with on the GMAT, and it is the section, the data sufficiency section, that they got rid of in the new Focus exam. That's why I would recommend taking the new Focus exam, because these questions were very difficult for a lot of the test takers. This is another one that has been eliminated. This is sentence structure. So this is on the existing GMAT. It is not on the new GMAT Focus. They're focusing more on reading comprehension, critical reasoning. This is where you can register for the GRE. So this test is also changing. We'll accept either test. The analytical, verbal reasoning, and the quantitative reasoning. This is the test structure for that. Very similar as far as the verbal and the quantitative side for the GMAT. So if you're looking at which test to take, maybe look at both of them and find out which one's going to be best for you. I know I've taken both tests, and I think the GRE is more vocabulary heavy than the GMAT. I am not sure, though, if this new test for the GRE will have as much of the vocabulary. So this is how the section level adaptation works for the GRE exam. Similar to GMAT, but a little bit different. Now, all this information about the entrance exams will be on either the MBA.com website for the GMAT and the GRE website for the GRE test. So that's all we have. Thank you so much for attending. If you have any questions, please let us know.